Hello, Charles for the win here. I'm doing another one of the adaptation review type things that basically where I look at a book or a graphic novel and then look at the movie or TV show adaptation and just kind of discuss how it was adapted, things that worked, things that didn't work, mostly about the changes that were made and why you should always read the book first. So today I'm going to be talking about Kick-Ass, which is an awesome movie. It's a great book. It's an even better book, and yeah, yeah. So let's talk about that. As always, there's going to be major spoilers for both the graphic novel and the movie. So I suggest you read the graphic novel strongly before watching this video. So the movie does a good job of setting everything up basically as like because the whole idea behind Kick-Ass is what if superheroes were real, and they do a good job of showing Dave, the main character, who's probably one of the most relatable teenager characters ever, and it's great. He's just a completely average kid, not really smart, not really dumb, just there. And so the only other thing he really does is he really likes comic books, and so he decides to become a superhero. Now, that's great. That's awesome. It's all done actually really well. It's just there's certain points in the movie that are a lot less realistic than the graphic novel, and that's the main difference. One, the movie did tone down some of the violence and stuff quite a bit, which is fine. It's all right. It doesn't need to be super bloody and stuff. But with that, the book is very realistic, and it loses quite a bit of realism in the movie version. So, firstly, let's talk about. Um, yeah, so basically, I don't know how to process words good. Um, so when Kick-Ass he becomes a superhero, Kick-Ass, and he's going along doing his thing, and he meets up with Hit Girl. Now, here's where the things in the movie is different. Um, Hit Girl, Big Daddy, and Red Mist, some of the other main characters who become superheroes, more or less, they're introduced around about the same time that Dave is in the movie. Now, they're not introduced until Dave meets them in the book. So it's a lot more interesting because it's like when Hit Girl shows up, she comes in, kills a bunch of people. It's like, whoa, who's this? Where'd she come from? Type of thing, and then it goes back and tells you where she came from and who she is and stuff. And in the movie, it's like we already know because we already saw her a few minutes ago, and it's not too bad for Hit Girl. It's just it's like more surprising and more intriguing when you don't know who the character is and they show up and then it tells you who they are after. It's just things that could be handled a little bit better. The same thing happens with Red Mist later. Red Mist turns out to be a bad guy. He turns out to be working for just his dad, the mob boss leader guy, and they show him earlier than that. Like they tease him earlier in the book. You don't really notice right away who exactly it is, but when he's Red Mist, you wouldn't guess really who he exactly was. He just kind of like another superhero that was inspired by Kick-Ass to go and do stuff. So, but in the movie, it shows that yes, he came up with this idea to pose as a superhero and get to Kick-Ass, and then find out because who Big Daddy and Hit Girl were because they were killing a bunch of the mob boss's men and stuff. So the fact that it shows this is just like earlier on, it's just kind of like annoying because then one, it's not a plot twist. It's like okay, that makes perfect sense. We did not. That's not unexpected in any way. And two, it what am I trying to say? Uh, right. Kick ass. Like he doesn't know that Red Mist is a bad guy, obviously, and neither does the audience in the graphic novel. Now, so it's a plot twist. It's like whoa, that's surprising. I didn't see that coming. Even if you did see it coming, it's still better than when they tell you it's coming, because then you have this other idea where it's like Um, oh, he's just gonna betray him. Don't listen to him, Kick-Ass. He's a bad guy, and you like know the stuff that the characters don't, and it's just annoying because you can't do anything about it. But in the book, it's like you're just reading it, and it just happens. It's not. It doesn't feel like, oh, well, but he's a bad guy. Don't trust him. It's like, oh no, he's a bad guy. I didn't know that kind of thing. It's more surprising. It's more intriguing. Um, so yeah. Then there's another thing about Big Daddy's character that is majorly different in the movie than in the graphic novel. So in the graphic novel, eventually, when Red Mist betrays Kick-Ass and Hit Girl and Big Daddy and them, they capture Big Daddy, and it turns out that he's not like a huge badass ex-cop who decided he needed to defeat the mob. He's just a regular guy. And less than just a regular guy, he's just a comic book nerd like Dave, like our main character, like us if you're the correct audience, if you feel like if you are like Dave and you are just like a teenager who collects comic books and stuff like that, which is kind of the idea of Kick-Ass. When like it's such a much different feeling when you're reading it like that than if you were someone completely different. Like he Big Daddy. Anyways, he's just a nerd. He's just a comic book nerd, just like Dave and stuff. And that's he just wanted to be a superhero. Just like there's no major reason. Like his wife wasn't actually killed. It was just all a setup that he lied to basically his daughter even, and it's all for nothing. He just wanted to be a superhero. So in the movie, they just stick with the lie, which is kind of interesting because it's like they just say, "Oh, the plot twist just doesn't happen for some reason." It's really kind of strange that they would do that at all because, like, why wouldn't you have a plot twist? It's such a good idea, and like, I didn't see that coming at all. Like, I was like, oh, because of the movie partly too. Like, so I ended up seeing the movie first, which you should never do. And this is why. So yeah, it's just like, why would they do that? It's a waste of time. Anyways, yeah, and it's really cool to see Big Daddy, who just has all these like #1 comic books of like X-Men #1 and like Fantastic Four and Avengers and Spider-Man and all that great stuff. And yeah, it's way cooler in the graphic novel. Why did they change that at all? It doesn't really make sense. Um, yeah, then yeah, it keeps going. They defeat the mob and stuff like that. Anyways, another thing that happens that they change in the movie, which I really don't get, and it's not realistic in the movie at all, and in the graphic novel, it completely is. It makes perfect sense. So Dave has this crush on this girl he like in his class, and like he ends up being friends with her. They by pretending he's gay and stuff. And it's pretty funny because that's another main thing is it is kind of a mix of violence and humor in some parts of the book. So that's some of the funny parts, and it is pretty funny. And they do that in the movie too. But then what happens is eventually he's like, okay, I'm not actually gay. I actually love you. I sorry I lied and stuff. And then in the movie it's like, oh, that's great. Let's have sex. But like that doesn't happen in real life. In real life, she's like, well, fuck you, which is what happens in the graphic novel. She's just like, screw you, Dave. Like, why did you lie to me and stuff? You're a creep. And then he doesn't get the girl, and it's super realistic, and that's what happened. And that's why the graphic novel's better, because it's realistic, and like in the movie, that's not realistic. That's not what would happen. And up to that point, Dave is such a relatable character. Even in the movie, it's like, yeah, that's completely yeah, that's a regular teenager. Like, there's nothing there that would that makes him feel not average. And then he gets a girlfriend, and you're like, well, that sucks. That's not fair. Like, it doesn't happen in real life. It's yeah. Anywho, that's a change that's really dumb. All right, so the last thing I'm going to talk about is at the very end. They're having a big fight scene. Hit Girl is doing flips and stuff, and it's just some of the violence and stuff is stylized, and that's okay, I guess, for the movie because I do want to tone it down a little bit. It was pretty intense in the book, in the graphic novel, so that's all right. And anywho, anyways, they keep going, and then in order to defeat the bad guy in the movie, they must use the power of a jetpack because that happens. Those are real. People use jetpacks in real life and stuff, and it's like, okay, yeah, he's like a real superhero now. It's like, but it doesn't make sense. It's stupid and completely pointless. It's kind of funny, I guess, because it's like, looks ridiculous, which it shouldn't because it's supposed to be really realistic and stuff. That's just another thing that has really a problem with the movie. And like, that whole part is so cheesy, and it really shouldn't be. Anyways, that's basically the main differences between the graphic novel and the book. Graphic novel much more realistic and stuff, but however, the movie is still enjoyable. There's no I still think you should watch the movie. It's just definitely read the graphic novel if you haven't already. Um, just the movie is still fun as hell. Like, there's some cool fights, like some cool action, really funny stuff, and it's just like an overall just really fun time. Um, and it still does feel fairly realistic for the most part, and there is quite a few scenes that they took basically exactly from the book. So good job there. It's just that there's just a few minor things where the the book is a lot better. Like, also, I just remembering this now. Dave's dad, who is, well, he's just his dad, but like, there's actual character development that goes on in the book. He doesn't just show up at the beginning and then like, oh yeah, then you see him once or twice and then that's basically it. Like, in the graphic novel, he's actually a character and stuff happens. In the movie, he's just, yeah, he just shows up more once or twice and that's basically it. Um, but yeah, they did a pretty good job with the movie. It's still enjoyable. There's no there's no reason you shouldn't watch the movie. Just it's still a fun time and stuff, and yeah, and both are just completely enjoyable. But definitely read the graphic novel. Yeah, that's basically all I gotta say. So I'll probably do Kick-Ass 2 next, and yeah, thanks for watching. If you want to see me talk about another book or movie, anyway, some adaptation, just comment below. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.